Hello, I'm Patty and I'm back today to discuss yet another topic, another sore subject in our life. So today we're going to discuss divorce. Divorce is a trend these days, of course. It's not like our parents used to get married and stay together whether they liked it or not, whether they were happy or not. Today, everybody gets a divorce. Marriage, divorce, it goes on nonstop. And I've done it myself. The issue here is, okay, so you get married, you get a divorce, and there's no kids, it's okay. Bye, see ya, hasta la vista. What do you do when you have kids? Well, when you have children, it's not so simple because you really never divorce completely from that person because you're a family now. So right now we have this situation going on with some famous actors in our industry who are getting a divorce, supposedly. And they're going to start tearing each other apart. And the kids are going to suffer. And they're going to suffer. And the kids will resent them for making them suffer. It doesn't have to be that way. It does not have to be that way. I've been separated from my husband for 12 or 13 years now. We actually never got a divorce because the lawyers are scumbags in this country and they're making money on the divorce. So the more fuel they throw at you to want to go to war with your spouse, the more money they make. And my ex-husband, or my husband because we're still married, my husband and I, he's from a family of lawyers, and I had been through divorce before, and I said, you know what, not doing this. I am not going to tear myself apart more than I'm already torn about the situation in itself. My daughter was young, and my husband was doing, the internet thing. And it was pretty disgusting what he did. It was not just a regular situation of having a mistress or anything like that. It was much more perverted than that. And, I'm not going to live with that. I am not a forgiving human being in that department. So I chose to separate. However, I also realized that I couldn't get rid of him. I couldn't get rid of him. And don't think I didn't want him to die. Oh my God. I just would look at him every day when he brought my kid home from school, and I would just look at him and tell him, I wish you were dead. I hate you that much. Anyway, what I did is I figured that I wanted my daughter to have a father, and I did not want our family and her to be completely torn apart like that. She suffered some, obviously, because I was suffering. So she did suffer some. But I tried to minimize it. I didn't want her father to be out of the picture all of a sudden. So I made him move close, and I took her to school in the morning, and he picked her up. And we did the birthday parties together and the holidays together. I invited him over Christmas and Thanksgiving, and he came. And I cringed. Oh yeah, I wanted him dead. But again, my child came before myself and himself. I committed to her that no matter what, I was going to do the right thing by her. And there it was. I was being pushed into that situation. Was my husband the best father to her before a divorce, or a separation, I should say? No. He was a shitty father, to be honest with you. He was inexistent. He was too busy with his dick somewhere. But I read him the riot act. I said, if you lose your child, and I'm talking about not me making you lose if you lose your child because she doesn't want to be with you, or you haven't shown her that you're her dad and you're there for her, to me, I think you'll be the biggest loser on the planet, because that's really being a loser when you lose your child, when your children don't want any part of you. Smart enough that he understood that, because he didn't actually come from a very, he came from a good family. His parents had their issues, but they stayed married. And his parents were very devoted parents. So it was easy for him to understand that, you know what, your father, as I told him, your father did this and this for you. At least you should do that for your daughter. And he did. Kicking and screaming all the way. All the way. The only reason my daughter has a relationship with her father is because of me. Because I made sure that it was going to happen. When he fucked up, I went after him like gangbusters. And when she behaved badly, I went after her like gangbusters and made them make up every single time. Because like I said to my daughter, he may not love you the way you want to be loved, or the way you understand to be loved, but that doesn't mean he doesn't love you. And that's what she needed to understand. Because for many, many years, she didn't like him. And she didn't want to be with him. At some point in time, he even had a girlfriend. And this girlfriend was jealous of his daughter. So Father's Day was coming up, and that weekend we were supposed to do something, and I realized, oh my God, it's Father's Day this Sunday. I called him up, I said, it's Father's Day, so don't worry, I'll cancel what I have with my daughter, and she can go with you. And he said to me, no, it's okay, let's do it another day, I can't really do it Sunday. Is it really? It's Father's Day on Sunday, you schmuck. Not another day. Well, what had happened prior to that is my daughter had called him at 10 o'clock at night for an issue that she was having. She needed to be chauffeured somewhere, and I couldn't because I had to work. And so I said to ask your father. So she called him up at 10 o'clock at night, and I happened to have texted him that night. I said, my daughter's going to ask you to go somewhere, because I can't do it that weekend. He calls up the next morning screaming at both of us. How dare we call him at 10 o'clock at night? How dare she calls him at 10 o'clock at night? That it upset his girlfriend. It upset your girlfriend, you asshole. Really? Who gives a shit about your girlfriend? My daughter, of course, was furious. And she didn't want anything to do with her dad. Now Father's Day's coming up, and she just not interested. So I said to her, do you want to, I am not going to see my father on Father's Day. I don't want anything to do with him ever again. That was her words. Okay. Friday night came around. I said, do you want to go shopping for a gift to your father? She said, absolutely not. Saturday comes around. I said, you sure? Do you want to get a card at least? I hate him. I'm never going to talk to him again. Okay. So I said, well, let me send him an email. Let's send him at least a card by, computer. No, and she was screaming and carrying on. I said, Shai, let me help you with this card. So we wrote the card. Dear Daddy, I'm wishing you a very happy Father's Day. I'm not calling you because I don't want to disturb your girlfriend. Love you, Shia. So I received it Sunday morning. Of course, he picks up the phone and calls. Can I talk to my daughter? No, she doesn't really want to talk to you. And he goes, I am their father. If I want to talk to her, and she was standing next to me, and I looked at her and I said, you want to talk to your father? And she went, no, never again. I hate him. I'm never talking. And she went off. Wow, he was baffled. Like, what? So I left the room with the phone and locked myself in my bedroom, and I tore him a new butthole. I said, what do you expect? Are you in love with this bitch? No. Really? Are you willing to lose your child over this bitch? No. Well, that's not the point. I said, no, this is the point, because you're losing your child over a dumb bitch. And let me guess what kind of woman it is. Let's see. You're 50, okay, or 49, I think he was. I said, she's in her late 40s as well. Probably has a cat. Never been married, right? No kids. He goes, yeah. I said, you know why she's not married? You know why she never got married? Because nobody wanted her. And you're the schmuck that is willing to take her in and lose your daughter over that bitch. Are you out of your fucking mind? He's crying. Started crying. He says, what can I do? I said, well, it's real simple what you're going to do. Just call her up and break it off. I said, unless she's the love of your life and you're willing to lose everything for her, you break it off. Dating somebody who's going to be jealous of your child, who's not going to understand that your kid comes first. I said, look at me. Every person I've ever dated since we've separated, and the man who's in my life now, they all knew right off the bat, they do not come first. My daughter comes first. And if you don't know that, and if you don't have that picture of that, then you don't belong in my world. You need to get the fuck away from me, because she will come first till the day I die. Am I clear on that? I think he got the picture, because he says, well, okay. And he hung up the phone, called back 20 minutes later. It's done, he says. So I told my daughter, you want to talk to your dad? Never again. I said, no, he broke up with her. I don't believe you. I said, I promise you he did it. Give him a second chance, okay? He's not perfect, but he's trying. So you see what I did. Even though I blasted his head off, at the same time, I did not allow her to wallow in her anger and me in the middle enjoy the fact that she hated her father, like most mothers would have in my position. Oh yeah, my daughter hates her father now. Get it? She's in my court. No. She's not in my court, because it's not about my court or his court or her court. It's about a child who has a loving mother who will sacrifice whatever it takes, and a father who does love his daughter is just an idiot. And he has to be taught every step of the way how to behave. That's really what we're talking about. I did not enjoy this. I did not think, oh, I'm so happy she hates him. No. I was crushed for her. You have got to start feeling the pain that you inflict upon your children. Because don't kid yourself. They're in pain. And they have nowhere to go with it. You're it. You're the parents. You're who they go to. You are who they go to. And you're at war with each other. So now where do they stand in there? Your children will grow older, and they on their own will see who you really are and who the other is. On their own. You should never lie to them if they ask a question, however ambiguous the question may be, about the other. Don't lie. Don't protect her or him. That you don't do. Because it will be a detriment. They will never trust you. They need to trust you 100%. And they need to know that the father and the mother are only human. And that we make mistakes. And that we're not perfect. But they also need to know that in our imperfection, in the midst of our mistakes, they're safe. That they come first. That no matter how badly we fuck up, they're going to be okay. We're going to make sure they're okay. And for that, you can't lie. Can't lie. Not easy. I'm not going to say it's easy. This is a very difficult moment in time for any human being. I had to swallow a lot of venom. A lot of venom. I remember going to lunch with a friend, and she brought another friend to the table. And this woman was wailing about the fact that she had been married. She was a widow. Her husband had dropped dead of a heart attack and left her with 3 boys. He was a lawyer. And she found out when he died that he was fucking around on her. And she was furious, and she's whining like crazy at the table. And I'm looking at her and going, just shut up. You are one of the lucky ones. I would give anything to be in your shoes right now. Honestly. I said, you didn't have to go through a divorce. You don't have to worry about sharing your children with anybody or anything like that. He's a lawyer. He would have taken you to the cleaners. It would have made your life miserable. I said, he dropped dead. He's out of your life, gone. You can raise your kids. You have plenty of money. I envy you. I did. I envied her. Now I want you to know that a lot of years have gone by. And the feelings that I used to have, I don't have those anymore. I don't have those feelings at all, as a matter of fact. I don't want anything to happen to my ex. Because I know it would crush me, but it would crush my daughter. Of course it would crush my daughter. But I have to be honest, it would crush me. We've been married legally for 29 years. And as much as he can be an asshole, he's still the father of my daughter. And we've been through a lot of shit together and in separation. I don't hate him like I used to at all. I don't have those feelings anymore. To me, he's just a member of the family. It's nice. I'm free. I am free. If you fight and you tear each other apart with the lawyers in the middle and the kids, devastate your kids, you will never find that kind of freedom. You will live with that anger and that rage to the day you die. And guess what? That hatred only kills you, not somebody else. It ain't worth it. It's not worth it. Like I said, it's not easy. I went through a lot of therapy myself. I had to go and sit down and vomit my venom to somebody. I had to throw my venom out. That's really what it was. All they heard is me ranting and raving. I had to take a good look at my life. I wanted to run away. There's a lot of things I wanted to do. I wanted to go back to France, where I was raised with my family. And then my mentor, Guru Singh in this podcast, looked at me and says, you're not going anywhere. I am going to hold your hand through this tunnel, and you're going to get through the tunnel, and you will see the light at the end of this tunnel is amazing, and you will turn to be a better person for it. I want to tell you, in all honesty, I didn't see it. I sat there and I could not see it. I was dying inside. However, because I trusted him, trust again, you see, I trusted this man. I trusted that he knew something I did not know, that he knew what was going to be at the end of this tunnel for me that I couldn't see. And I stayed and I continued the journey in blind faith. And he was right. He was 100% right. I came out gloriously at the end of that tunnel. The light was immense. It's a horrible thing to feel trapped. And I felt trapped at the beginning, to be really honest with you. That was one thing that was suffocating me. I felt like I was trapped in a situation, and that made me insane. I'm not trapped anymore. I'm free as a bird. I don't hate. I'm not jealous. I never was jealous. But I'm not hurt. When he fucks up, I'm free to tell him what I think. I still run the family because that's the way it is. I'm going to run this family forever because he's not capable of doing it. He's not. But he's not a bad person. He just fucked up in some areas. That's his problem. He has to live with that. He has to live with his failures. And I have to live with my mistakes as well, because I should have seen the writing on the wall. As many of us do see it, but we don't want to see it. I saw it much earlier. I didn't want to acknowledge it for many, many, many reasons. And then one day I had no choice, because my face was thrown right into it. It was very painful, that's why. I didn't want to go through that pain, I think. I just didn't want to go through that pain. But the other side of that is, if you don't go through it, and you don't work through this, you never get to the other side. You stay in the misery. There's a saying that says, when you're going through hell, don't stop. Don't stop. Hello. Does that resonate for you? Because it sure resonated to me. You need to get rid of the emotional part of the relationship, which was the love affair, and turn it to a friendship somehow. Because somewhere along the way, at some point in time, you were friends, besides being lovers. So we're not lovers anymore, but there's a friendship or a relationship, no matter what, there. And you have got to actually buckle down and swallow your ego for the sake of the kids and yourself. So my daughter, who's now 21, is one of the few kids in her school and at college who's really well-rounded, well-balanced, and who comes to her parents and looks at us and so, she tells me, she says, Mom, this parent, this family, this, and she tells me all these stories, these horror stories, and she's like so grateful. My daughter is grateful for her parents. Do you think that if we had torn each other apart, she'd be grateful? No. She'd be fucked up. We're not perfect. Don't get me wrong. We are not perfect. Nobody is. If she wants to sit in therapy about some bullshit because her mother's too ole ole and her mother's so or her father's that, fine. But she can never say that she didn't come first. She can never say that. We made a pact, him and I, that there would be no divide and conquer. In other words, whenever something went wrong, we got together on it. And we raised her together. She never could get away with anything. She couldn't come to me and say, well, Daddy, if I can go to Daddy and he'll say it's okay, or I can buy this because Daddy, no, that never happened. Never happened. We always did those things together for her sake. For her sake. Because she was always at the top of the list. Everybody's getting a divorce right now. So all these kids are being torn apart. You're allowing this to happen. You're allowing these lawyers to dig the daggers into you every which way. I mean, we went to see a lawyer, my husband and I, after 5 years or something like that, just to see something. We had a question about something. The first thing he started was asking about certain things and how we should do X, Y, and Z. And I sat there and I could feel my blood going into ebullition. And I wasn't even mad at my husband at the time. But this guy was pushing all my buttons. And my husband was looking at this and he saw it right away and he says, okay, we're done. Thank you very much. We're not interested in your information and we're not interested in giving you our information. And he looked at me and says, let's get out of here. And we left. But I saw it. I mean, I was like getting angrier by the minute. This guy was pushing every one of my buttons. That's what they do. It's their job. Think about this. If you're going to get a divorce, it's okay to be angry at each other. But you've got to have a neutral zone where you can sit down and say, okay, I hate you for this, you hate me for that, whatever it is, but this neutral zone belongs to our kids and they come first, and we're going to make it okay. We're going to swallow our ego and our rage and our anger. We're going to deal with it in other ways, but we're not going to take it out on the children. And we're not going to allow strangers to step in and to help us take it out on the children. We don't need that. In the future, there will be an option for you guys to be able to ask questions of situations, and I'll be glad to answer them. I will notify you of the how and about to do this, like I said, in the future. In the meantime, I bid you a wonderful day with much love. Patty.